Welcome back to Vox Terra. My goal in today's show and all my shows isn't to challenge anyone's identity as a conservative or a leftist. It's to bring people together over the common interest of our long-term survival. But to do that, I need to show that some things that pass for conservative aren't principled conservatism. Rather, it's the reckless elements of the business community, chief among those in the fossil fuel petrochemical interests, that have infiltrated the conservative movement and are using it. So today I'm going to cite from Desmog, whose tagline is, "Clearing the PR pollution that clouds climate science." What a great tagline. And Desmog, I've looked at them. They're excellent for investigating these money trails. The article's titled, "Amy Coney Barrett's Remarks on Climate Change Raise Alarms That a Climate Denier is About to Join the Supreme Court," by Drugmand, October 14th, 2020. So borrowing a quote from Dana's article, there's concern that big business interests opposed to climate action are using dark money to effectively buy judges they want in federal courts, including the Supreme Court. So by dark money, we really just mean money that's not traceable. And money in politics is a lot harder to trace now because of the Citizens United Court decision, Supreme Court decision, which is considered a conservative decision. And then there's what's left of traceable money, and that's where organizations like Desmog come in to try to hunt down that money. So there's a few ways these organizations, these moneyed interests are trying to influence the judiciary. One, according to Desmog and others, is through the Federalist Society. Now, what a wonderful name. Federalist Society. I mean, it sounds very good. But here's the problem with it, with some of these things that sound principled on paper. The Federalist Society notably has ties to climate deniers, I'm quoting from Desmog, and polluting interests like the Koch Industries and ExxonMobil. As Desmog's database profile provides, the Federalist Society has consistently published articles and hosted debates that frame investigations into ExxonMobil and think tanks that question the existence of man-made climate change as attacks on free speech. The group has regularly hosted talks by individuals who oppose the mainstream consensus on man-made climate change. Now she gives some dollar figures here. Koch foundations and Koch Industries have spent millions of dollars on Federalist Society, and ExxonMobil has contributed at least $235,000. But again, this is the money they can still trace. It's getting harder and harder to trace money. The society is also part of a larger web, fueled by dark money from undisclosed donors, that aim to capture the federal courts to serve the interests of Republican donors and corporate interests. Here Desmog cites from the Senate Democrats' report, Captured Courts. A stat, 86% of President Trump's nominees to the federal appellate courts, including Barrett, have been members of the influential, what they call right-wing legal network, the Federalist Society. Barrett, quoting from the article, Barrett, whom Trump appointed to the 7th Circuit in 2017, was an official member of the Federalist Society from 2005 to 2006 and 2014 through 17, and continues to be affiliated with the organization. And remember, my last video I did on Amy Coney Barrett, I showed a case where she sided against the Army Corps of Engineers and with the developer over wetlands. Another organization Desmog cites is called Donors Trust. Donors Trust is a major funding arm of climate denial movement, according to Desmog. So Desmog then cited Sheldon Whitehouse's comments during the hearing, connecting, Donors Trust and the Koch Industries and Federalist Society as part of that web. And then Desmog goes on to say, a 2015 Desmog investigation found that Donors Trust has handled more than $479 million of untraceable funding during 2005 and 2012, an amount that has likely risen. So Desmog also cited Sheldon Whitehouse as mentioning another conservative activist who raised $250 million in dark money, and Sheldon went on to say, a great quote, I think, $250 million, that's a lot of money to spend if you're not getting anything for it. Sheldon doesn't talk like that. So that raises the question, quoting Sheldon in this accent, that raises the question, what are they getting for it? Sheldon went on to say, a lot of this money, I'm convinced, is polluter money. The coke industry is a polluter. The fossil fuel industry is a polluter. Who else would be putting buckets of money into this and wanting to hide who they are behind Donors Trust or other schemes? And Sheldon Whitehouse, not quoting from Desmog now, but I remember Sheldon Whitehouse also, in addition to talking about this funding of judicial nominees, was discussing what they call amicus briefs made to the court, which are called friends of the court briefs, whereby these industry interests are sort of trying to tee up court decisions to be favorable to them. So you've got the Federalist Society, Donors Trust, so-called conservative activists, and then you have personal ties of judges, which I talked about in my other video. And those personal ties on Amy Coney Barrett's end include the oil industry. Now in my next video, I'll pick up with the title of the Desmog article, where they were concerned about what Amy Coney Barrett had to say about climate change. Until then, if you found this video helpful, please make sure you're subscribed. Please like, please comment, please share. And until next time, you know what I say, peace be with you.